Hello, welcome to the Comics Panel. On today's episode, we're going to be talking with our friend John from Hooked on Comics about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Okay, we're going to talk about Spider-Man a little bit. Our friend John is here, and he's a big Spider-Man fan, and we're going to get some of his points of view on some things and some of our points of view, and we're going to talk about Spider-Man and the history and the movies and the comics. Well, first of all, we were talking a little bit earlier, and we know there's some things about the movies we want to get to, but being a Spider-Man fan, what's your favorite thing about Spider-Man, just right off the bat?
I just love the whole action that he does. I love the whole climbing on the wall, the whole shooting the webs and catching bad guys. So that's kind of... He's always had me hooked with that.
Yeah. Cool.
Can do anything a spider can.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
When did you start reading Spider-Man?
Again, going back, it's years ago. Probably back in the probably late 70s, early 80s. You know, that's why I like the old Spider-Man much better than the newer Spider-Mans. The movies are okay. They're not my favorite, but I have this thing for me anyway. If I followed the comic book when I was younger, it's a little harder for me to watch the movies because the movies always seem to not portray your character as well as you think they should.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about the upcoming Spider-Man movie that's coming out in July, Homecoming?
I'm on the edge if I'm going to see it or not, because I feel they portray him as a kid, and just from the comics, he's always been more of an older teen. So now if they're going to portray him as a 15-year-old, it doesn't, to me, make sense because of the whole backstory with him, where when he was in college, he got bit by the spider and yada, yada, yada. So we'll definitely think about it.
So of the Spider-Man movies that were out, what's it, Tobey Maguire and who's the other guy? Drawing a blank. Andrew McCarthy and the new one. Of those three Spider-Man movies, actors, what was your favorite and why?
Well, I can't really comment on this because I've only seen the Tobey Maguire ones.
Okay.
And when they brought in Venom, I was really disappointed on how they played Venom, so that kind of ruined all the Spider-Man movies after that.
I was a little disappointed with the way they brought Venom in as well.
I was happy the way they got rid of Venom at the end of the movie with the sound and everything like that.
That was neat.
Which follows the book.
Yeah, there was a lot of things about Venom that were pretty dead on as far as the movie, but I do think you're right. They missed a whole lot that they could have done with and just a better job. Well,
I mean, even if you read the comic books, I mean, if you transformed from Spider-Man to Venom, in the comics, Venom is this big beastie guy, and he, was really built. And then when you watch the TV series, then Eddie Brock is just a little scrawny guy, and makes you go, no.
Now, the Tobey Maguire, he did bring kind of that nerdy aspect to the character in there and did make him a little bit older, where Andrew McCarthy, they made Peter Parker, nothing against the actor,
right,
but the directors or producers or whoever in charge, they made him like a skater boy, and he's not skateboard hoodie type kind of guy. I mean, it's not his character. I mean, he would have been great for another role in the Marvel Cinema universe, but they tried to make Spider-Man, I think, a little bit more hip, and they just didn't.
They missed it.
Go with it.
Yeah,
they really missed it.
And I don't think they need to reboot his character anymore.
I think
with the stories.
Tobey Maguire movies look a little bit better when you see the later ones. Anything that you could be able to pick apart from them isn't quite as bad.
Yeah.
And of course, they had Doc Ock, which I thought was a great rendition of Dr. Octopus in the second Spider-Man movie.
did like
thought
that.
that was really good. I had, that's to me, that's pretty much how Doc Ock should be.
Yeah, I agree.
And I like the relationship that he had with Peter. They captured that,
Yeah.
where he was like the teacher, professor, student thing. So they had that knowledge of each other in the books, and then translate that into the movies as well, which I liked.
Dude, there you are. Look, man, cool. We'll get back to the show in just a sec. But first, you gotta click on the subscribe button for the Comics Panel's YouTube channel, man. That way, you won't miss one gnarly episode. It's right there. It only takes a sec. I'll wait here. Dude, there you are. Check this out.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the webs being organic, but I like the web shooters. I like the fact that he's smart. He's part scientist,
Right.
and it really shows his ability to be an engineer and be really smart. And you don't really see a whole lot of that from the Spider-Man aspect, but he's real high intelligence, and even like Tony Stark and Reed Richards are always surprised by him, and things like that. So when you see his web shooters, and plus his web shooters used to do all kinds of stuff, the web bats, the boxing gloves, when he would fight Electro or Shocker or something, or or a bat, he would make a bat or a shield. He could come up with all kinds of stuff, and I think if you have the web shooters, the mechanical thing, you'd be able to do things like that a lot better than if you were more organic way. So
Well,
I think
when they transferred him over to being a kid, I don't think they could keep that aspect of it as being the smart college kid,
Yeah.
which Toby played.
Yeah.
Once they went to the kid, they couldn't be like, oh, he was smart enough to do this on his own. So I feel that's where they had to be like, oh, well, it just now is natural.
Yeah.
So I think it was a case of, in my opinion, everybody said how Tobey Maguire's movies were bad until they made the later Spider-Mans, and now you're looking back on, maybe it wasn't so bad after all.
I wish I could take pieces of each movie and put them together, and you would have like the ultimate Spider-Man movie. It's like they missed a mark here, they missed a mark here on this one, but you put them together and you got it.
Yeah.
I kind of like the organic webs, but I also think that if you're going to have them he still should have the web shooters for the bulletproof, the fireproof, the electric proof,
That would make sense.
all the stuff, and you get the best of both worlds. But I think that that's what they're leaning towards in a new movie based off of Civil War, where he was tinkering with the webs and making them. And so,
and with the mechanical web shooters, he could run out of web fluid and
yeah,
Right.
be in
put more
trouble.
stuff.
Right, yeah, that would
You
not
know?
be good, right? Spider-Man ran out of
And
web.
he has to rely on the spider buggy.
Oh yeah, I remember
Get
that.
out of here, man! It's like speed buggy.
Was there a favorite Spider-Man villain that you like?
Oh, definitely Venom. Venom, which of course then spawned off into Carnage. I mean, both of those are fantastic, fantastic villains. So I think whoever came up with the whole Venom idea really hit the mark, and it was an iconic villain that like more modern day too. you
Yeah.
know, more modern day villain, and they definitely struck that one right on.
Is there anything else you guys want to add to the Spider-Man cinema universe versus the books?
Don't ever change the costume.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yes.
I don't
Stick. I mean, they vary it a little bit here and there, which is whatever.
change color, a
But
little bit here and there.
pretty much stick to the webs and the blue and the red.
Yeah,
Well-
If they lose that,
yeah, that'd be bad.
they've gone too far.
I can tell you this in the Homecoming. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
In the Homecoming previews, they do show when Spider-Man jumps off the building, they put the Steve
web pits,
Ditko
yeah.
webs
the web
on there
pits.
from the old comic books from
That's
back
cool.
in the day.
Well, only thing I was going to say was the only suit that they can get away with changing if they put him in the black
Would be the
silver
black suit,
which
yeah.
of course we know
Yeah.
turned out to be.
And that
Venom.
was around long enough in the comics to
Right.
pretty much establish it. And it is a cool suit.
Absolutely.
But the classic Spider-Man suit is
Yes.
pretty much it as far as
Yeah,
I
I agree.
Hello. We will return to the show momentarily. You may not recognize my face, but you would recognize my name. I am a comic book writer, and I am here to ask you to subscribe to the Comics Panel's YouTube channel. This will ensure that you shan't miss a single episode. Who knows? I may even tell you my name. Go on, click the subscribe button. I'll wait. Thank you. Now, back to the show.
Exactly. So, anything else then?
I think that's about it for Spider-Man.
So when you get tired of the same old story, flip that comic book page to pay homage to Liam, and leave your comments down below,
and like us on Facebook.
and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our episodes. Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks.